Coming up on Fulton today, early voting is underway for the May 20th primary. And the effort to better emergency response times and communications can now begin. We'll show you the location for the new digital radio tower. Fulton Today is next.
From the Government Center in downtown Atlanta, you're watching Fulton Today with Shania Chavis.
Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis. Fulton County voters can now head to the polls to cast their ballots for the May 20th primary races. FGTV's Priscilla Ortega is at one of the polling sites with important information. Priscilla?
Shania, the Government Center is one of the main locations where people can line up early and cast their ballot. The Registration and Elections Department wants as many people as possible to take advantage and vote early. Focus groups, meetings, outreach events, and tweetcasts. The Registration and Elections Department has been preparing voters for this election for months. The department has also tested more than 5,000 pieces of equipment, so they're ready for you to cast your ballot early.
We want to make sure that we empower voters, reduce the number of lines on election day, have more people vote early. Hopefully we can get 2/3 of the voters to vote early.
Voters can go to any of the 7 locations open for early voters this week. Right now, the polls are open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The process is simple. Registered voters head to the polls with a proper form of identification.
You can use a passport, you can use any state-issued ID, government-issued ID, expired driver's license will work, and regular driver's license, tribal ID, military ID.
You will then use a touchscreen computer, and if you have any concerns while voting, raise your hand immediately.
If there's any question, any doubt, ask before you press cast ballot, because once the voter presses the cast ballot button, there's nothing that can be done because the voter can only vote one time.
And remember, if you don't vote early, you have to vote at your specific precinct on May 20th. After this week, the number of early voting locations will expand to 19, and those locations will be open from May 5th through May 16th. And if you have any questions, you can call the Fulton County Registration and Elections at 404-612-7020. Reporting at the Government Center, I'm Priscilla Ortega for FGTV.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. Meanwhile, residents and business leaders in downtown and midtown speak out about crime in their communities. Comments were made during the 3rd Crime and Safety Summit.
I want you to know, just like yourselves, I'm not exempt from crime and being the victim of a crime.
Fulton Chairman John Eves spearheaded the forum to bring together police, political leaders, and court officials to discuss programs and services to help make their neighborhoods safe.
We'd like for our community to become a safer place to live, and one of the best ways to do that is to hold an active interchange with our community.
If they're willing to say we are all on the same page, that we want solutions, that we don't want to just say, okay, locking everybody up is the answer, then great. I think that we can work together.
The first 2 summits were held at the Atlanta Metropolitan State College and Cascade United Methodist Church. We'll let you know when the next session is scheduled. Though the state's unemployment level is at its lowest in 5 years, people still pack the Fulton County atrium looking for work. The Office of Workforce Development held a job fair.
We have CVS, Concessions International. We have an Atlanta Beverage Company. We also have some partnering agencies which is the Georgia Department of Labor. That is here to assist us with the job fair as well. We are offering workshops on how to have a better resume, build a resume, also job searches, and we will also talk about the services that the Office of Workforce Development offers here in Fulton County.
Dressed in business attire and armed with resumes, applicants were given the opportunity to talk to recruiters representing over 30 local employers.
I think this is huge. A lot of times it's always good to, look online and do your due diligence, be prepared, but to actually be in an environment where you can actually meet people, and everyone here is real encouraging. I mean, some people have been out of work for a short time, some a long time, but I think it's real good to encourage people to keep pushing.
The Office of Workforce Development offers career advice, resume preparation, and job readiness workshops at its North and South Service Center locations. Workforce Development is a division of the Housing and Human Services Department. To get more information, call 404-613-6381. Emergency communications in Fulton is going high-tech. Ground is broken for a new state-of-the-art digital-based radio system, a system that will help improve safety and reliability for first responders. Treacher's Daly is the interim director of emergency communications. Sir, welcome to Fulton today.
Thank you, Shania. Thank you for having me.
So first things first, explain exactly what is being upgraded.
We are upgrading our current analog system to a digital P25 compliant radio system. We will be replacing or building 15 new towers throughout Fulton County that will provide enhanced radio coverage, which is the standard for digital radio systems for public safety telecommunications.
And why was there a need to upgrade the system?
Well, we're currently using an analog radio system, which is about 25 years old. Maintenance is becoming extremely difficult. It's having frequent failures, which pretty much means it has reached its end-of-life capacity. So there is a desire to replace it and a need to replace it to ensure that we have effective public safety communications with our first responders in Fulton County.
And explain to everyone how this kind of an upgrade benefits residents.
Well, it will benefit residents throughout Fulton County by having an enhanced coverage with our digital radio system. Our first responders all over the county will have improved coverage and improved radio abilities. Anytime you have improved communications abilities within a 911 center, it equals to faster response times and more effective communications, and it creates a safer environment for our public safety responders once they arrive on the scene.
And I understand the system is expected to be completed either late this year or early next year. Finally, tell me about the cost.
Total cost of this project is $19.6 million. That was approved by the Board of Commissioners last year.
All right, Treacher's Daly, Interim Director of Emergency Communications, congratulations, and keep us posted on the outcome of the project.
All right, thank you for having me.
Students attending Fulton Citizens University get a lesson in health and wellness. Staff with the Department of Health and Human Services briefed students on the many services the departments offer. Health Services Director Dr. Patrice Harris briefed students on county services. Family health.
At the end of this evening, most of you are going to say this: wow, I didn't know Fulton County offered all of these services. On safety.
To behavioral health.
A very important emphasis that we have is on prevention.
And emergency preparedness.
Emergency preparedness kind of helps us kind of just keep that on the forefront of our mind. And the next slide is going to talk about specifically about getting prepared.
It was very informative. I feel that the doctors are very well prepared to serve the community of Fulton County, and there's a lot of services out there that we were not aware of.
Next week, students resume the county's financial overview when they have class with the tax commissioner. And when we come back, plans are underway for the next big block party in District 6. It's a part of our district-by-district coverage next.
You're watching Fulton Today.
Over 1,000 books are donated to an area school as a part of a commissioner's literacy campaign, and residents get an update on the revitalization plans for their community. Here's this week's District by District coverage. District 1 Commissioner John Eves caps off his successful book drive with a generous donation by a prominent firm to Hamilton Holmes Elementary School. The chairman read to first graders when he visited the school to present the donation made by KPMG, an audit, tax, and advisory firm. Eves started the literacy campaign in March and collected 1,200 books for area schools. KPMG added over 1,000 more as a part of their Family for Literacy event.
We think that the effort today, reading to the kids, showing them that reading can be fun, hopefully will inspire and motivate and stimulate them to embrace books. We're going to donate books to the kids here, and hopefully they'll take them home. read to their parents and read to their siblings or read to their grandparents. And we just want to encourage literacy and get young people to see that education in general and reading in particular is very important and it can be exciting.
This donation means so much to the school. First of all, it's a big incentive for our students. It promotes the fact that reading is important. They get to see people that look like them come in. They can be inspired to one day perhaps be a chairman.
The best part of the day is just sitting down with the kids and watching them read, watching their faces just beam while you're reading and letting them sit in your lap and ask questions and then giving them a book at the end. Their faces just light up. And it's just amazing.
KPMG partners, interns, and professionals not only raise money for books, they also visit classrooms to read to students through their Family of Literacy campaign. Chairman Eves also speaks to young students about the importance of reading and making good decisions. In District 5, Friends of Darnell Senior Multipurpose Facility say thank you to an Atlanta firefighter for his over and above kindness during a weather emergency. In collaboration with the Council of Aging, the Friends presented gift cards to Lieutenant Anderson as a token of appreciation for how he helped many seniors during the first winter ice storm of the year.
Well, for me, I was coming on shift about 0700 hours, so for myself, I had to walk into work because of the snow, so it took me about 40 minutes, but I walked to work in the snow. And once I got there, the seniors were already there.
Oh, Lieutenant Anderson is one of the finest young men, okay, young, I mean young. It's been at least 60 years since I've seen a young man, you know, with that type of attitude in his upbringing as far as helping people in the time of need.
It was a lifesaver for the whole 36 people that was on the bus. And it really was a lifesaver for me. We had been on the bus 15 hours without a restroom, without food, and without medicine. And they came and sought the highway patrol and they carried us there.
Atlanta and Fulton firefighters opened a number of fire stations during both ice storms, aiding several motorists who were stranded. The planning has begun for another big annual event in District 6. Commissioner Joan Garner is again joining Atlanta City Council member Kwanzaa Hall in hosting the Yo Boulevard Block Party. Organizers and participants recently met at the Government Center to discuss how to make this year's event even more successful. Over the past 2 years, Fulton County departments have provided various resources to residents in the Bedford Pine community during the back-to-school block party. This year, they plan to do the same.
We've had the health department, we have our libraries, we have the IT department, we have communications, economic development, workforce development, youth services, senior services, and I could go on, but I would say the majority of the departments that offer human services have participated and will continue to.
Well, we just came out of a wonderful meeting with Fulton County Commissioner, the county manager, and the entire team of department leaders and their representatives talking about how we continue to build this partnership that's turned out to be a great way to offer all the different services that are either in the city shop, the county shop, and even in some cases in other people's shops, but we're just filling the voids for citizens who really need help.
The back-to-school block party is planned for Saturday, July 19th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can visit yoboulevard.com for more information. And finally, in District 7, South Fulton residents get an update on what's being done to improve a heavily traveled corridor in their community. Commissioner William Bill Edwards hosted another town hall meeting to discuss the plans to revitalize Old National Highway. This is the second time the community has gathered to develop ideas to make the area safer and more economically strong.
Once we solve the crime problem, which we know crime will never go away, but once we get a good grasp on the crime, then I believe the Old National project will be a success.
I'm excited about what's going on. I'm excited about the attitude of the people who live in and around Old National Highway, and they're on board, and between the government and the people, we shall revitalize this corridor and make Old National what it was, a good thing in South Fulton.
Fulton County has already taken steps to clean up the highway. Police shut down a convenience store where they found drug activity. come back, e-cigarettes and new safety concerns. Stay with us.
You're watching Fulton Today.
Well, May is dedicated to bringing awareness to a chronic illness that affects thousands of people in Fulton County. The Asthma Coalition of Fulton County says 1 in 12 people in the metro Atlanta area suffers from asthma. The condition causes wheezing, breathlessness, and coughing. There's no cure for asthma, but you can manage your symptoms.
So it's important to try to stay and pay attention on the news when they're saying it's a bad air day, and get into environments where you have clean air. Make sure the filter in your home has clean air and is cleaning the air properly, and talk with your doctor about getting a written asthma plan on how to deal with your problems.
Secondhand smoke, dust mites, pollution, pet dander, and fragrances are some of the triggers that cause an asthma attack. To help spread awareness about asthma, you can join the Fulton Asthma Improvement and Reduction Coalition. They will have an informational session on May 28th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the College Park Health Center. The coalition can be reached at 404-613-1243. And this week marks the 20th anniversary of National Infant Immunization Week. The annual observance highlights the need to protect infants from vaccine-preventable diseases. According to the Centers for Disease Control, immunizations can now protect babies from 14 diseases before they turn 2 years old.
Vaccines, although they do sometimes have side effects, they have more benefit than they do side effects. But if they think about the full benefits of what that vaccine provides, it just reduces the incidence of disease, and it's vaccine preventable diseases that we're trying to prevent.
You can schedule an appointment to get your child's shots updated by calling 404-612-1211. Most county health centers are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. You may have seen people smoking those electronic cigarettes. Well, now doctors warn that they may not be a better alternative than the traditional cigarettes. Dr. Patrice Harris is the Director of Health and Wellness. Doctor, welcome to Fulton Today.
Hi, Shania. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us on this topic. For folks who may not know what e-cigarettes are, explain it.
Well, e-cigarettes are nicotine delivery devices. The nicotine inside these e-cigarettes is liquid nicotine, and it is vaporized, and so the user inhales this vaporized liquid nicotine. E-cigarettes often look like cigarettes or pipes.
And doctor, are people at risk of getting sick by using these e-cigarettes?
People are at risk of getting sick from e-cigarettes. In fact, the CDC recently released a report that says there's been a dramatic increase in calls to poison centers across the country. And Georgia Poison Control has also noticed the dramatic increase in calls related to e-cigarettes. And about half of these calls are related to children who have had access to these devices less than 5 years of age. About 42% are those over 20 years of age. So we really want folks to take notice of this and learn about the dangers of e-cigarettes.
And what are some of the other dangers of these e-cigarettes?
Well, some of the other symptoms that folks can experience with overdose and e-cigarette poisoning or nausea, vomiting, and some eye irritation.
And of course, we like to get your final thoughts.
Well, I really want to encourage our listeners out there to stop smoking, and there is help for those who want to quit smoking. There is a Georgia Tobacco Quit line, and that number is 1-877-270-STOP, STOP. And I'll say it one more time, that's 1-877-270-7867. And also, I encourage our listeners to talk to your physician. Your physician can help you with medications that can also help you quit. You can take medications by mouth, and there are patches, and there's also the nicotine gum. So the bottom line is don't smoke. if you haven't already started. And if you are already a smoker, please quit.
All right, Dr. Patrice Harris, Director of Health and Wellness, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me today to talk about this very important topic.
And still to come, how animals are helping kids learn. Stay with us.
You're watching Fulton Today.
Children helped to celebrate the pre-opening of the Aviation Community Cultural Center. The Children's Aviation Story Hour at the libraries allow the little ones to learn about planes and flying. It's one of the many programs planned as the grand opening celebration approaches.
The first thing they learned was all about aviation and who the Tuskegee Airmen, they're going to be a huge feature down there at the Aviation Center, and we wanted them to have some knowledge of who the Tuskegee Airmen were and what they did for our community as well as our country.
The Aviation Community Cultural Center grand opening is May 15th at 10 a.m. on the grounds of Fulton County's Brown Field. And finally, man's best friend is helping children learn to read in a stress-free way. The Reading Pause program is available at a number of library branches. Children read to trained and registered therapy dogs. At the Alpharetta branch, children can sign up to read to Echo for 15 minutes at a time.
Reading in front of parents, reading in front of teachers, that can be intimidating to some kids. And by, the dogs don't judge, they're okay. If you mispronounce a word, it's not the end of the world.
To see when the next session takes place, go to afplweb.com. And before we go, our reminder that we'd like to hear from you about the stories and programs right here on FGTV. Go to our website to take a survey, or you can also email at fgtv.feedback@fultoncountyga.gov. You can also follow us on twitter.com/FGTV, find us on Facebook, and watch us on YouTube. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis. Thank you for joining us. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.